Hello again. Thank you for joining me this evening. This is going to be, I guess, part one. We're going to jump right in to Genesis, the first book of the Old Testament, the Pentateuch, the Torah, the whole 9 yards. So basically, what I've done is, so just full disclosure here, I've finished Genesis. I just read it a couple hours ago after a few days worth of reading. So I have here notes. So basically, I have a list of notes on this, and I'm going to get the Bible ready by my side. Roll up the sleeves, and here we go. So, and I don't know how far we're going to make it tonight. This is kind of spur of the moment. I'm just going with it. I wasn't quite pleased with the HD quality of the last video, so I'm just going to kind of test the quality of this one, and we'll see how far we make it. I doubt we'll get through all of Genesis tonight, but might as well start. So, obviously we have in the beginning, all that good stuff. So where am I going to go to first? And once again, I'm not going to be reading this. Obviously, that'd be completely boring and would take hours and days worth of video to just read out loud. Doesn't make any sense. Essentially, I'm just going to go along at my pace. If you can keep up, great. If not, so be it. And we'll go from there. So let's see, Genesis 1:25. And so I have just this list that I made of interesting things. I'm going to stop when I find interesting subjects, and we'll talk about it. So here we go. Genesis chapter 1, verse 25. And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. So, this is one of those, Genesis 25 through 27 is kind of the ancient aliens synopsis of the pluralization of, we look at verse 26 here. I'm jumping around a little bit, but and God said, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness." So this is that area of Genesis where there's a lot of interesting debate about what these verses mean. So this is just one that struck me was, and God made the beast of the earth after his kind. That to me implies God is a beast. God making the beast after his kind. Anyway, so let's see. Let me get a pen here so I can go along with this. Actually, let's get that highlighter. Excuse me a second. Reach over for my highlighter. Genesis 2. So we're going to chapter 2 now. 2:21. Here we go. 2:21. Yeah. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. So this is the God creating man part. Or more specifically, I suppose, this is God creating woman, taking the rib from Adam. It sounds to me, God causing a deep sleep, that sounds like anesthetics, being put to sleep for surgery. And that's, once again, another ancient alien kind of way of looking at things where they believe that these stories can be interpreted in a different way. So I don't disagree with that. I was once into ancient aliens quite a bit. Not so much anymore. Let's see here. Why did God make the serpent? That's a great, yeah, so that's a question. Why did God make the serpent in the first place? So he created this garden paradise for, his creation, yet he also creates this devil. Why? Why would that be created? Let's see. Genesis 3. 3:15. So we're going to head to chapter 3 here. 3:15. Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and that shall bruise his heel. So what I've compiled here in Genesis chapter 3 is essentially the blame game. It's God blaming, I guess, Adam blaming Eve blaming the serpent. It just goes round and round. No one takes accountability. Let's see, Genesis 3:15. So I'm questioning God over. So yeah, see, it seems God over punishes lies to Adam. Adam didn't die. I guess that's open for interpretation. So he says, "Thou shalt surely die." So maybe Adam was an immortal, and by him eating that, he eventually will die in 100 years, and that's what God's talking about. But that, once again, could just be one of those translation things. Okay, so God kicks them out after he gives them animal skins, which is interesting. So he sends them on their way, but here, take some hides with you. There you go. Okay, that's why I mentioned that. So, I'm not a vegan. I'm not vegetarian. I do eat meat, but still, you would think that God, he made all these plants and all this, vegetation. Couldn't he weave? Did you really need to slaughter animals and wear furs? Can't you make textiles with cotton or hemp perhaps and make nice clothing instead of killing animals? This is just the introduction. Once again, my opinion. This is all my subjective opinion to this. This is the introduction to the subjugation of the world under man. We've been led to believe, because it says so in the Bible, that everything is under our thumb, essentially. So yeah, here, slaughter an animal, have some sheepskin, go on your way. Get kicked out of the garden, but here's some nice coat for you. Let's see. So let's see, we're going to chapter 4 now, where we're getting into Cain and Abel. So, Genesis 4, Cain brings fruit, Abel brings back livestock. There you go. So, they both have offerings, Cain and Abel, the two brothers that were the offspring of Adam and Eve. They both bring God offerings. One livestock, one fruits. And which one do you think God prefers, judging by the skins that he gives? So of course, let's see here. He chooses the offering of Abel. Cain and Abel get into a fight. Cain kills Abel. So that's bad, and Cain is then cast out. So the details of the fight we don't know. And this is, I'm trying to play devil's advocate a little bit, but who knows who threw the first punch or what happened? All we know is Cain slew Abel. Let's see here. All right, so we're going to skip quite a bit. And this is what I do, so I didn't find anything. There's a lot of lineage in some of these books. So, guys begetting all these other kids, so I'm not getting into that. So we're going to go ahead and skip to Genesis chapter 8. We got 8:21. What do we have here? Chapter 8, verse 21 I have highlighted. Yes, I'll read that one. That's interesting. This is the kind of character we're dealing with here. Genesis chapter 8, verse 21. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor, and the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more everything living as I have done. So God, upon smelling the decay, or not, the burning flesh of the offering, says, no, oh, this smells so good. I'm in such a good mood. Never again will I destroy mankind or all of the creatures. This is, I suppose, this is after Noah and after the waters receded. So God blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. So there we have Genesis chapter 8. Noah. What do we have next? So when God smells the flesh of the animals, he promises himself to never commit wholesale genocide against people again. Good. Hold you accountable to that, God. Okay. So, Genesis chapter 9. So here it says, God promises never to flood the whole world again. So he kind of goes back a little bit, where instead of just, I promise never to kill everyone, well, now I promise never to flood this time. So going back, or opening the door perhaps to some other kind of calamity, if and when he so desires. Let's see. Yeah, so maybe I still will kill everybody, just not with a flood. Then Noah gets wine drunk and gets naked. His son clothed him. Noah wakes up and gets angry and curses him. And this is the guy. This is God's number one guy. This is what we'll see a lot. So Noah gets naked, gets drunk, and we all make mistakes, sure. But God's number one guys, Noah, then Abraham, and we're going to tend to see some traits that I personally don't find honorable, and a lot of people don't find honorable. Lying, cheating, stealing, being cowardly. These aren't things that a man aspires to be. And we'll see, at least in Genesis thus far, from what I have experienced, that seems to be the case. So where were we here? Noah gets drunk. Genesis chapter, we're going to chapter 11 now. Together for a common purpose. Tower of Babel. This, this is a lot of information here. So let's go to 11. This is probably where we're going to stop for the night. I'll attempt to upload this video, see if I can do it. So this is where we'll stop for the night. We're going to stop at Genesis chapter 11, and this is going to be the introduction, or right around the time of the Tower of Babel, which is a very, very interesting time in the Bible. So I will mark this on my sheet here. And thank you very much. Be kind to everyone out there. There are some jerks out there. Just be as nice as you can. And once again, thank you very much for watching the video, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night.